In this episode, Hardcore Henry, Turisas, and we talk everything Spider-Man. So grab a beer, sit back and relax, and let's talk some BS.
Well, Saul, how many times did that take?
Oh, it was first try, mate. First try.
You're a lying bastard.
Nailed it, mate.
As
Batman would say in the Lego movie, first try.
yeah, apart from... Anyway, so, yeah, we've had lots of technical difficulties before this even started, so, like, it's going to go really good.
We lost some of our equipment. We then found some of our equipment. Yep. It then took a while to plug it all back in again. We're alright, though.
We're fine. We're good.
I'm already one beer in. I'm grand.
It's been a long week, Saul, huh?
It's been a real long week. We're actually recording this on a Friday and not a weekend this time, so I've been awake since 3:30 because I'm a baker. Yeah. So
I mean, to be fair, like, I won't tell you how many times I was up last night with the baby.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Let's not play that game.
We're both pretty tired,
yeah,
but we're alright.
We're gonna have some fun.
Definitely.
Nice. Saul, what you been up to?
Well, I tell you what, let's get it over and done with now, because you're probably not going to hear the end of it for the rest of the evening. So sorry about that.
Definitely not. No.
So I went to EGX gaming convention in Birmingham, and it was bloody fantastic. I had a whale of a time. Highlight of my year, without a doubt.
Awesome.
I met some incredibly cool people there. But I sort of a community that I'd only ever spoken to online. We all met and drank lots, and it was great. And it was great to put faces to names, and
awesome.
It was fantastic. And I also played some really cool games, including Kingdom Hearts 3. Played that.
God damn it.
Yeah, it's good. I also held a Keyblade in Andy's room.
Shut up.
Yep.
Just stop it. Stop it.
Do you know whether they're going to have Kingdom Hearts 3 demos at MCM at all?
I'm hoping they are, to be honest. I'm hoping they are, because so I'm going to Comic-Con next week, and I'm really looking for only on the Friday. But yeah, I'm hoping that they do. I know one thing they have got, which I'm excited to do. They've got Captain America's bike.
Sweet.
Which is a Harley Davidson. And
nice.
You can sit on it and have a photo.
I love a good Harley Davidson.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be fun. But yeah, I love Comic-Con. It's a really nice atmosphere.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of the same for you with EGX. Like,
yeah. For me, it's EGX,
there.
and for you, it's MCN.
Yeah.
MCM.
Yeah. Which you should come to. I've been to EGX. I haven't been to Birmingham, but I've been to the London one.
Yeah.
You should come to Comic-Con.
Yeah. I mean, my first EGX was Rezzed with you.
Yeah.
Like, last year? It was last year.
Yeah, it was.
Was it really only last year? Jeez.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Mental.
So other stuff that I got to play while I was there. I got to play Super Smash Brothers, the new one. I actually got to play that live on Nintendo's big stage in front of a lot of people.
Oh, nice.
Which, I mean, the way it went was it was the very first day, and it was the end of the day. And so I was like, I'm going to wake up early tomorrow so I can get in line early so I can just head straight to Smash Bros. Because that was the only one that I hadn't got round to playing yet.
Yeah.
And they were doing a thing like live on stage where they brought people up to have a go. And I was like right at the back of this audience at the time.
Yeah.
I was wearing my snap cap, the one that I'm donning now.
Yeah, EGX one.
My EGX limited edition one. It's lovely. And so they were like, okay, this game's just finished. Who wants to come up and have a go next? And everyone's hand shot up ever.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever. I'll stick my hand up, see what happens. And literally the guy was like, guy with snap cap at the back, up you come.
Yay.
Like, oh, sweet. It went immediately from, oh, sweet, yes, I get to play the new Smash Bros. To, fuck, I've got to play Smash Bros. In front of like a lot of people. And by the time I'd thought that, someone had already picked Link. So I was like, oh, fuck, now what do I do?
Oh, no.
I have to play as Mega Man.
See, if they had Cloud, then I would have been like, right, here we go.
They didn't. They didn't have all of the characters available.
I can't imagine
had a demo basically run of it. So I got to play as Mega Man, and the game plays about as well as it played on the Wii U.
Yeah.
It plays absolutely fine. I loved it, and I came second, so I didn't come last.
Oh, wow,
I held my own.
That's nice fun.
Which so relieved about, because I was like, if I come last, that's it.
That's it, man. You got to give up your career as a Nintendo fanboy.
Yeah. I got to play a little bit of Mario Party, which subsequently is now out now.
Okay.
And that was fun. That seems like the exact kind of game that we should play at like a New Year's gathering or something like that. It's a lot of fun, definitely. Much better than Mario Party 10 was for the Wii U, which was, in a word, trash.
Yeah. I played that. I was like, what the hell is this game?
I got to play Life is Strange 2.
Oh, brilliant.
Which subsequently has now been released. The first episode has now come out, and I
Yep.
sat and played through the first episode, and holy shit.
You cried.
They do not pull any punches in this game. Like, it honestly makes the very first episode of the first Life is Strange look like a baby walk.
Yeah.
Like, it pulls no punches, and I kind of love it for it. I did cry, you are right. There were moments where I sat down and had a good cry for reasons I'm not going to get into, but
yeah.
But yeah, it definitely does its job, and it's just as good. And I got a free T-shirt for playing the demo at EGX.
Oh,
So,
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty
cool.
Yeah. But my favourite game that I got to play at EGX was a game called Beat Saber.
All right. Okay.
Have you heard of this at all?
No.
It's a VR game.
Oh, nice.
It's a VR game that I'm definitely going to be picking it up. I'm going to sell it to you in one sentence.
Okay.
Guitar Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Without the guitar,
Right.
instead you're wielding two lightsabers.
Oh shit! I think I've seen this. You know.
Yeah, it was on Outside Extra's last show of the weekend.
Shit. Yeah, I think I've seen adverts for it.
Yeah,
as well.
I got to play it and was immediately hooked. I was like, this is my next like Guitar Hero fix.
Oh, awesome!
It's so cool. I got to play it for a good 15 minutes. Actually, it was pretty good, and I thought I was really good. I was doing really well. I'm sure I looked like a complete pillock in real life, because you always do in VR. You always think you look so cool when you play that kind of stuff.
Excuse me, I looked awesome when I was playing as Batman.
That's because you did the Batman voice throughout the entire thing.
Because I am Batman.
Shit. Breaking news, guys.
Have you ever seen me and Batman in the same room together?
I honestly can't answer that question.
Lawyered.
Where we go. There's your news scoop for the episode. Adam is Batman.
That's
Who
the
knew?
title. That's gonna be
That's the title. Adam is Batman.
Even though we're talking about
Because
Spider-Man.
that'll break in the viewers right there.
You're spiking really hard. I don't know why.
Am I?
Yeah, maybe because you're getting really close.
Maybe I'm getting a bit close.
Right.
I've got a mic stand now for the first time.
Yeah, so we won't
which
have
is
any
great.
falling over unless
Won't
someone gets
have any
that
falling.
drunk.
And unless I do it deliberately for the bit.
Yeah. Do it for the bit saw.
So yeah, Beat Saber was amazing. The only other game that I've got written down here is they had a retro corner, which is really cool.
Oh, cool.
And I got to play a Star Wars X-Wing fighter arcade Atari game, and it was so much fun.
Sweet.
I've got a video of me playing it. I'll show you later. It's solid.
Nice one.
That retro corner also had like a bunch of old pinball cabinets and stuff like that as well. They had a Spider-Man pinball cabinet.
Oh,
and it
really?
was
That's
really
awesome.
Cool.
That's really nice. They do extra things like that.
Yeah.
It's not just computer games and stuff.
And then naturally I brought more Zelda stuff because, of course, I did. It was an incredibly cool event. I've already booked my tickets for EGX Res next year in April, and booked my hotel and booked my time off work for it.
Perfect.
So, and
It's
it falls within my birthday week as well, conveniently enough. So
Awesome.
yeah, EGX was awesome, and that's all I'm going to say on it until after the podcast, where you'll probably hear lots more stuff. Sorry,
Yes.
not sorry.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. You guys get to go home and carry on with your lives after this podcast, but I have to carry on after the podcast and hear about the rest of this all evening.
In other news, you've been hearing what Small Town Drunks have been saying about us.
You know what? I haven't caught up with their latest podcast yet.
Okay. It was Nathan's birthday, I believe,
Okay.
and so they got surprisingly more drunk than they usually do.
Wow, I didn't think that was physically possible.
I didn't think it was physically possible either, but in their drunken rants, it was blurted out that they want a wrestling match with us at some point. So what do you reckon? Do you reckon we could take them?
No way. I couldn't.
What do you mean, no way? I reckon they'll be so drunk to begin with, we could probably give them a hearty pushover.
Yeah, I know those guys. They're still freakishly strong when they're drunk.
Okay.
In fact, if anything, like Nathan gets more angry when he's drunk, so he'd be worse to fight. So
Cool.
But anyway, to be fair though, we have actually been asked to. We are going to hopefully be doing a collab. So now I've said it on the podcast, we have to do it.
Yeah, it's probably going to happen at some point, which means that this wrestling match is also inevitably probably going to happen as well. So
yeah.
I mean, if it gives us viewers, then
viewers, yeah,
you know,
well,
it's fine. I'll sell my dignity. That's whatever.
Yeah, but yeah. Well, there we go. This ongoing feud continues.
Yep. Always. Shall we get started with the first entertainment exchange?
I think so.
Oh, actually.
Oh,
scrap that.
Okay, scrap that. Okay.
I was going to start with a question
Oh,
first.
yeah. Go for it.
Yeah?
Go for it, man. Yeah.
It's a small little question. This comes from Nightcat on Twitter, who says, I thought Solo was a pretty decent film. If they find me, how would I best defend myself against the raging fanboys?
Well, to be fair, I probably need to protect myself from raging fanboys for saying in our first ever podcast or one of our podcasts that like I didn't find Jar Jar that annoying when I was younger.
You're still alive somehow.
I know. So I don't know how. I think it's because I have got a good argument that I was young. Deal with it. You know.
And you said
also,
that
also
on the internet.
Also Ewoks.
Yeah, Ewoks.
You know,
that is true.
That's what I was like, Ewoks. Okay. I haven't seen Solo. Mainly because I did not like the look of it. I was like, I don't need to see this.
I was the same.
Like the look of it.
I didn't actually see it in cinema at all because I am a big Star Wars fan, but I saw it and also heard the amount of stories of the amount of trouble there was in production of making it that I made the decision to not go see it in cinema. Obviously, I still bought it on Blu-ray when it came out. And I actually
still got your money, Saul.
Yeah, I actually got to sit. I sat down and watched it when I spent the week in York because I just needed to relax after that convention because as much of it fun as I had, it knackered me.
Yeah.
So I sat down and watched it, and to my surprise, I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
I actually really enjoyed it, considering I knew the amount of problems that they had when filming. They had to change directors and all of that.
Yeah.
And the main actor needed some acting coach at one stage.
Oh my Christ.
Honestly, it was a really fun movie.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it for what it was. I still don't think it needed to be made.
No.
But I did enjoy it. It took me on a ride and I had fun with it. So in answer to your question, Nightcat, best way to defend yourself against raging fanboys. What I would suggest is buy the Lego Millennium Falcon. Don't even build it. Just surround yourself in its Lego parts and no one's going to fucking touch you. Because as we all know, stepping on Lego is even more painful than death itself.
Yeah.
So I reckon, you could buy any Lego really, but I reckon to really rub salt into the wounds, buy the Millennium Falcon.
Oh my God.
Just don't even build it. Just scatter it.
Have the Millennium Falcon, you're not even going to build it?
Yeah, just scatter it in a circle around you. I reckon you'll be pretty safe.
Middle fingers up.
Middle fingers up. Fuck it, who cares? I'll join you if you like, because I enjoyed the film as well. Tell you what, I've already got a Lego Millennium Falcon at home. I'll happily dismantle it, and we can have two. Double the defense. It'll be great.
And I'll be on the other side, mainly because I want to call myself Daycat, and she'll be Nightcat, and then I can go, Daycat, fighter of the Nightcat. If you know what that reference is, then you're my friend. But Saul doesn't know what the reference is.
Am I not your friend anymore?
No.
Is that the way it goes?
No.
I'll
show you
what,
later.
it's a good job that I brought a microphone that has a 10-meter extension cable, so I can just walk out.
Go on.
I can leave if you like. It's fine.
Saul, we need to get on with the entertainment exchange.
We do. Cool.
We need to talk. We need to sort of. We're sort of like, this is 5th episode, right? So just need to explain what we're doing here. So for people that are only just joining us, every week, me and Saul exchange a piece of entertainment, be a game, movie,
could be anything that classes as entertainment.
Really. Anything. You know, we've done all sorts. And we take that away at the end of the podcast, and we come back to the next podcast and we talk about it. We talk about what we liked, what we disliked. So
We've only ever disliked one so far, and that was you.
yeah, so far, Saul. So far, we've only disliked one.
Ah,
We haven't got onto this week's.
I think I might see where this is going.
Yes, Saul. So last week, Saul gave me a film called Hardcore Henry, not
Yes.
Harry, as Saul said initially. before the
No,
podcast.
first try. It was first try, all right? We nailed it. First try.
Yeah. So Saul, introduce us to Hardcore Henry, please.
So, Hardcore Harry. Oh, shit, no, wait.
Oh my god.
Hardcore Henry is a movie.
Yep.
Nailed it.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Hardcore Henry, or its first title was simply known as Hardcore, and still is in some countries,
Okay.
is a Russian-American science fiction action film.
That's a mouthful.
I mean, it's a bloody mouthful, isn't it? It was released in 2015 and was written and directed by names that I am going to butcher. That's going to happen a lot this episode.
Oh my god,
I feel.
this episode. I'm so sorry to all other nations listening to this for the names we're going to
We
butcher.
do apologise. Again, I'd like to stress I'm one beer in. I'm close to opening my next. So, this was written and directed by Leah Nashula. That sounds
Let me
vaguely sensible.
Let me see. Nishula
Nashula.
Inga Weinstein. I have
What?
no idea.
That wasn't even written down.
It was Inga Weinstein.
Sure.
Nishula Inga Weinstein. Inga. Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
You were reading the wrong bit, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. I'm one beer in as well. Yeah. Ilya Nishula. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It does, but as we all know from previous episodes, I'm shit at pronouncing names anyway.
Yeah,
so
and that was English names.
yeah, that was English names, and I couldn't even blame the codeine the second time round. So running joke.
Yep. Oh my god.
Let's
go.
Let's go. Yeah,
got a lot
we're
to talk
stalling.
about.
We're stalling. It was produced by Timur Bekmambetov.
Sounds right.
Sure, let's go with that.
It was produced by some person.
The thing that makes this film incredibly interesting, and the reason I wanted you to watch it, was because the entire film, from start to finish, is all in first person from the main character.
Yep.
You don't see any other camera shots, you don't see mid shots, you don't see long shots, you don't see scene changes. It is one continuous long first person shot from the main character.
Yeah.
And that's an incredibly impressive thing to do. However, I still don't know if I like it yet. So I'd like to shed some light on the situation and see how you found it.
Right. Well, Saul. Okay, so I'll go in initially with my predictions. I had like a prediction this time of what I thought was going to happen. So
Yeah.
I thought that it would be an interesting idea, but will lose its appeal quite quickly, and the story wouldn't be strong enough, and the action would be lost in the point of view shots.
Yeah.
Now, I think some of that is true. I think the POV kind of did. It was like that was mainly the biggest thing going for it. If I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah, it was his biggest selling point for sure.
If it wasn't in POV, I think. Well, it could go either way. It either would have actually been better. The story would have come across a lot better, or it just would have been a shit action film like all the others.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It just which I think at the end of the day it is.
It
personally.
is. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'll let you.
Well, because I haven't got loads to say, but I've got enough.
Yeah.
So I'll just go through my notes. So basically, the main thing from this film that I kind of took away was I felt like I was in a game.
Yeah, I think that's
in a video game.
a lot. I think that was the point,
but
to a certain extent.
But not a good video game.
Yeah, no,
a really shitty video
your
game.
Generic type of first-person shooter fighting type thing that hasn't got an incredibly good story.
No, and it's like, and I felt like I'm in a really long cutscene that will not stop, and I'm like, oh my god, I want to skip this fucking scene, but I can't because that film. The acting was, I'm sorry, was appalling.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It is shit. Okay, so the main so first of all, okay, right. First of all, the spoilers, but I'm not being funny. If you want to see it, then the spoilers. Okay, there's going to be spoilers. You can skip it if you want. Okay,
I think you should at least try and watch clips of it on YouTube just to appreciate the way it's shot, and for that reason only, I honestly don't think I could recommend watching the entire thing. No.
But anyway, okay. But if you really, really want to know about the story, there may well be spoilers, so we'll put a link in the description. Anyway, so the woman at the beginning, I was like, oh my god, you want to put some fucking emotion in, please, for the love of God. Do something. Show me you actually give a shit, because at the moment I literally feel like I'm watching cardboard. Then the two guys came along and I'm like, you're still bloody boring as shit. And then the bad guy came in and oh my god, this freaking guy, okay, he is, I mean, like, I get credit where credit's due. He's clearly, I think he's Russian, or something of like. I mean, he's English isn't his
Russian
first
film,
English
so I'd
is,
imagine so.
English is not his first language, so I'll give him that. He's doing it all in English. But I'm not being funny. They could have got Tommy Wiseau doing that fucking part, right? And I would have found it 10 times better because he would have put in some blood. He just would have been better, all right? This guy is like a shit Tommy Wiseau, and that's
you are tearing me apart, Henry.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been so much better to get Tommy Wiseau doing it because I would have actually liked it then. He was annoying as sin. So anyway, I will. So yeah, going through it. I was really excited because Sharto Copley was in it, who is in District 9. Have you seen District 9?
I have. It's a brilliant film.
Brilliant film. Sharto Copley in that was fantastic. However, I saw it and I was like, this is going to be my decider of whether I think he is actually a good actor, because I saw him in A-Team, he was meh. I saw him in Maleficent, he was meh. And he was in Chappie, and I mean, it wasn't in it, he did a voice, and that was meh. So I was like, I'm really excited because this is going to be my decider whether he is actually a good actor or whether District 9 is his only good film. District 9 is his only good film. He was awful in this. I didn't like him.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
Just do your fucking normal accent. Just be South African. Just be South African. Why do actors do that? It really winds me up. It's like Bilbo Baggins, I can't remember his name now, in Black Panther. Just be British. Why do you have to be fucking American? It really drives me up the wall. Sorry, that's another rant for another day. Just do your normal accent, okay? You don't need, like, everyone else is already talking in Russian and there's some English people. Just be freaking South African. It does not matter. He did not say the film.
So there's already so many accents in the film anyway that you might as well just
exactly,
roll
chuck
with
that
it.
one in. And
you know?
It's so annoying. And I didn't get his character until obviously right at the end. And I don't feel like that was like with the different like avatars coming in. Like I was like initially, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
His arc didn't feel justified.
No, I think actually it's a really clever idea. It was a really clever idea. The fact that this guy is obviously bound to a wheelchair and he's made all these avatars that he can go out into the world, but it wasn't clear enough about what it was. Even when he explained it, I was like, okay, I kind of put two and two together. Like the fact that they kept like dying and like resurrecting. I was like, oh, I see, because he's only controlling it. Well, he didn't actually ever explain that. It was a bit too much left to the audience, I think. And when you're in point of view, you need it explained.
Yeah.
However,
absolutely.
Talking about over-explaining, in the opening scene, oh my god, stop saying his fucking name. Literally.
Hey,
the
Henry.
First, like, half...
Henry,
come here, Henry, come here.
Hey.
Henry, we know what his name is,
Henry.
okay?
Henry.
Oh my god. I just, like, me and Kat were watching it together, right? And it was... Kat was like, oh my god, stop saying his name. Seriously, for the love of Christ.
Are you now sick of the name Henry?
Yeah. When you said Harry, I was like, it's not fucking Harry, it's Henry. I heard it enough times. It's Harry. I'm sorry,
I don't know
I'm
what you're on
swearing a
about.
lot.
We got that bit nailed first time.
Oh, God. Yeah, yeah, and I literally kept saying it's like they're literally trying to copy a video game, and I'm not sure it's a good thing. I'm not sure. I don't think it is a good thing.
I appreciate it trying, but I think you've got to understand that video games and films are two different things.
Definitely.
And when you start trying to mix them together, I mean, we've seen it in all video game adaptation movies.
Yeah.
It doesn't
work.
blend well.
It can work, but it's very hard.
Yeah.
Because the thing is with video games, everyone has their own experience of that game. And when you translate that into a film, it's like, well, that's not how I remember that game.
The way I see it is that I appreciate the film going that new direction, like turning around and going, video game movies aren't great. Let's try something completely new with it and see how that works. And I appreciate them trying that. I just I still don't think it works.
No. The thing is, one of my main points of what is good about it is the stunts. The stunts are brilliant because like Henry is actually played by stuntmen throughout the film. It's also different stuntmen playing Henry, and like some brilliant stunts like the parkour things, really good, like the flamethrowers and like.
I've got a little bit of information on the stunt.
Oh, cool.
People. I've got here that Henry was originally played by a Russian stuntman / cameraman. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name. I do apologise, otherwise I'll butcher it. But the camera rig that was used in production eventually caused him severe neck pain. The role was given to another stuntman / cameraman who also suffered neck pain later on down the line as well, in addition to losing a tooth after being accidentally struck by another stuntman.
Oh my god.
So the shooting process for it sounds rough as all hell.
Yeah, and it definitely doesn't sound like they're going to be doing another one like it.
Yeah, it wasn't that the rig that they were using was heavy at all, because the entire film, throughout the most part, was shot with GoPro cameras, which are notoriously light.
Yeah.
It was the tech used to stabilize it all was just really jarring and awkward, and they had to get used to that as stuntmen, and accidents happened, and it did cause them like severe pain in the neck, which is rough.
It was a bit of a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I was just, I like the stunts.
Yeah,
they were good.
Yeah,
and
they were impressive
saving grace.
for sure.
If it wasn't for the stunts, this film would have nothing going for it, because actually the premises was actually, I was like, actually this is pretty cool. I'd like to see a bit more. And honestly, if this was a video game, I'd probably be more invested, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I was just a bit like, well, yeah, I don't know.
It was just a little bit. The thing is, they could have done so much with it. The premise would have worked if the story had been decent.
Yeah. Well, I think the story was, but it just didn't come across well enough because of the POV. I think the POV kind of spoiled a lot of it.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. And I think the POV kind of spoiled a lot of the stunts. Some of the stunts
looked amazing in it, like the car chase stuff.
Yeah.
Looked incredible.
And like the parkour and like dodging the flamethrower, because you felt like you're right close to that flamethrower.
I would quite like to experience this movie in VR.
Yeah.
If I were to experience it again, which I'm going to be honest, I brought a Blu-ray, I've watched it once, and I don't think I've watched it again since.
No, I know.
But if they turned around and went, oh yeah, you could watch this in VR if you wanted, I might give it another go. It seems like at least a decent experience in VR. It'll be interesting.
I think I would, but I wouldn't be able to last very long, because the thing was, I was watching it, and I'm like, I'm not sure how long I can watch this, because I'm worried it's going to start giving me a freaking headache and nausea and like, yeah.
It's quite disorientating at times.
It is. I think they do well to get you in the swing of it, but yeah. And the thing is, right, I think that if you turned around to me and said, this is a student film, then I would have gone, fuck, this is awesome. It's really cool that students have done this. It's great. Because it feels like a student film sometimes.
It does. But
for something that's a more, like, obviously a lot of, I'm guessing quite a fair budget.
Well, I've got it written down here as well. The film premiered at the 2015 Toronto International Film Festival on September the 12th. It became one of the highest profile films at the festival and led to a bidding war between Lionsgate, Universal and STX Entertainment.
Really?
Ultimately, STX acquired worldwide rights to Hardcore Henry, including a wide release commitment for $10 million.
Fuck.
Yep. And Hardcore Henry grossed $9.3 million in North America and $5.1 million in other territories, making a worldwide total of $14.3 million. So they didn't lose anything.
Yeah, but they didn't make loads.
But they didn't make a lot. But as an experimental film, if you're not losing anything, then that's decent.
Yeah. So I put overall, it does what it set out to do. It does an action film in first person, and it pulls it off well to an extent.
Yes.
Like, it definitely, it's all right. I think I would have preferred, like, maybe just a short film rather than a full film.
Like one of your YouTube 20-minute long type films that people spend, like, a huge amount of, not money, but a huge amount of time investing into. Like,
I'd like to see Tom Scar do a first-person film, if I'm being perfectly honest.
That would be cool. Yeah.
I think that would be great to see that, because I think you do a good job with it, and I think you'd make... I mean, hey, let's do a comedy film with one. Do you know what I mean? Let's make it funny. You know.
Yeah, it wasn't a very funny film at all. It didn't have much comedic.
I think Sharlto Copley was trying to be that, like, when he came out with his like silly characters and stuff, he was trying to be funny, but it didn't land.
It didn't land at all.
He takes himself a bit too seriously, Sharlto Copley, because I mean, I don't know if you know, but he actually does most of his. He likes to ad lib a lot, and in District 9, he was given full reign to ad lib, but obviously when he worked with other directors, they were like, I don't like this is so hard to edit, oh my god, and like, you need to stick to the script, and and I feel like maybe in this one he was given a bit of a free reign, and it's obvious because he's like, okay, there was a bit where he was like, okay, you get on your motorbike, and it's like they're already getting on the motorbike and driving away, and I'm like, that's, oh my god, like, it was a bit amateurish, and I feel like that he's like, look, I can ad lib, and it's like, well, you can't, because it's obvious that you're making it up on the spot.
They're already on the bike.
Yeah, it's like,
deal with it.
It was a bit shit, and I've kind of written him off now. You know what I liked though? So Kat pointed this out. There was a bit where, all like the super soldiers were coming out, and then the big massive bloke comes out. Yeah. And I just went, oh, it's a boss. And then Kat was like, and then Henry like picked up a bit of glass, and Kat was like, use your surroundings, use objects in your surroundings to take out the boss. You know, because we'd just been playing Spider-Man. Like, it was just like, oh my god.
That's just led me to an idea that someone should do. I'm not necessarily saying us, because I don't know if we do a good job of it. I think someone should do running commentary on this film like it's a playthrough.
Yes, oh my god, that would be great. That would be really good. But, so yeah, overall, like I said, it did its job, but...
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to enjoy this one when I gave it to you, because
Which is why I felt good about the fact that I wasn't sure I was going to like it, because you said like you wanted to see what my opinion was, because you weren't sure.
My opinion was, I still didn't really know how I felt about it. I didn't know if I liked it, and I think that stems from, I could appreciate what they were trying to do, and visually in places it was brilliant, but it didn't have the story or the writing or the nuance to back it up.
No.
And that's where it fell a bit flat for me.
Tell you what's not flat, this beer.
Ooh, pass that bottle opener, would you, mate?
There you go.
Nice.
I know we're not allowed to drink, are we? I mean, it's soda.
No, it's... Oh, yeah, we might piss some people off.
But yeah, so sorry, man. That's 2 in a row that I kind of haven't liked.
No, I prepared myself for you.
To be fair, like, I think that I preferred Resident Evil to this, because I can see its merit. Whereas that was more of a personal preference. Whereas I feel like that this is actually technically shit.
Not great. Yeah, it's not sound.
And
like, don't worry, I prepared myself for you to not like this one. I didn't expect you to come in going, "Oh my god, I loved it! It was amazing."
I feel like you might have shunned me a little bit if I'd gone, "This is the best film ever."
A little bit.
Really?
A little bit.
Really?
I might have walked out of the room with my 10-meter long mic cable. You know? Maybe a little bit.
But anyway,
I think it was an interesting film to watch regardless.
I think it's definitely people should give it a watch, but I don't think they should necessarily, say, "Oh, I'm going to sit down and watch this all evening."
Yeah.
Which, coincidentally, I actually ended up watching it all the way through. I didn't think I was going to because Elsie's been up and down sleep-wise. I thought I'm going to be interrupted a lot. And annoyingly, she didn't interrupt me. I was like, "Please, for the love of God, wake me up so I can have a break from this shithole." And she didn't.
If I were to advise watching this, I would say it's definitely not worth buying it on any platform,
it's
digital
on Netflix.
or... Is it actually on Netflix?
It's on Netflix, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would
I'd do that.
recommend at least watching a bit of it just to...
like a couple of the action scenes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I'm pretty sure you could probably find them on YouTube.
Yeah,
so
definitely, yeah.
I'd recommend maybe seeking them out, but as a film itself, I would recommend not watching it. Definitely it's not great. That being said, I'm still glad it's in my film catalogue because it seems like it's a history, first of its kind. So
I'm sure it's been done before, but like
not quite to that extent.
No, and not to that. That
I think that was only really because GoPros were involved, which were fairly new back. Well, not new, but they were taking on a more mainstream thing by then.
Yeah, definitely.
So they could be utilised a lot more. Brilliant. Hardcore Henry.
That is Hardcore Henry. So, moving on to the next entertainment exchange. So, I gave Saul something a bit different. Which I like to do.
I think it's a first on this podcast,
it's
right?
a first, yeah. So, I mean, I gave... We normally do, it's mainly films and games, isn't it, really, at the moment. We have done a graphic novel. We did Saga.
We've done Saga for our very first podcast.
But this time, I gave Saul a band. I gave him an album. One of my favourite albums, in fact. It's called the Varing. Again, we're gonna butcher a couple of these names because I'm not entirely sure how it's pronounced, but bear with us. The album's called the Varingan Way or the Varingan Way. It's by a band
Varingan sounds
Varingan
better in my head
Varingan.
Anyway.
Okay, we'll go with that Varingan. We'll just call it the album.
That album, yeah.
So it's by a band called Turisas, and I've got a bit of information about that. So Turisas are a Finnish metal band who formed in 1997, which I didn't realise it was
1997.
Yeah,
damn.
It was under a different name.
Okay,
but it's the core members were there. So the lead singer, Warlord Nygaard, as he's known, was.
I was 4.
Yeah, I know, it's insane, right?
That's mad.
Let's not think about that.
No.
So they're named after a Finnish god of war. They fuse folk metal with power metal and symphonic metal, and add harsh vocals, like really gruff metal vocals. They cover themes of mythology and adventure, and often referred to as a Viking metal band.
That's how I would interpret their music.
Yeah, but although having said that, I didn't know this until I read until I researched this. But the album, the Varingian Way. The album is a concept album that tells the story of a group of Scandinavians traveling the river routes of medieval Kievan Rus, which is now the territory of Belarus, Ukraine, and Russia.
Yeah, I've literally got that written down in my
notes. Cool.
Right
through Ladoga, Novgorod, Jesus Christ, Novgorod, and Kiev, down to the Eastern Roman Empire. And each song is a geographical location of that journey. So, annoyingly, I don't... Did this case have the back with the track list on it?
It did, yes.
With the map?
Hang on. I don't know whether it had the map or not. I've got it, though. So.
Okay, because it had, because I remember there was a one that you could get where it had, the map, and it showed... Yeah, there you go. Yep. So it shows... Each track list, each song is a location... in the journey sort of thing.
I've only just noticed that,
Fucking hell, Saul. But yeah, so there we go. So that's what it was, and it's just their journey basically.
I'll tell you why I only just noticed it, because I didn't actually end up using the CD in the end.
Oh really? Okay.
It was fine. It played well. I just found it easier to stick it on my phone.
Fair enough.
Listen to it that way.
That's fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know what you could have ripped it or whatever, but that's cool. So Saul, what do you think?
Cool. Well, I pretty much did some research myself after reading the album.
Yeah.
Reading the album, listening to the album. I did some research myself because I was genuinely interested on the journey and blah blah blah. Because you said when you gave it to me last podcast that each song signifies a point in a journey that was taken,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was quite interested in hearing more about that. So I did research, and I've got notes here that pretty much just signify everything that you just said.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's
Fair
cool.
enough.
It's fine.
There we go. Sorry, I jumped on your thing there.
Oh
but
no
that's
no
fine.
no! It's your thing to jump onto, so that's fine. But yeah, I was to say, I did it mainly because it's not that there's not a lot I can talk about this album. It's just I feel that there's less I can talk about an album than there is a film.
Yeah.
So-
No, I get that, but like you
So
know,
I wanted to do a little bit of background research so that I could sound better.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
But the album itself, I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I really did enjoy it quite a lot. What I've got here is I really enjoy the album. It's the type of music that I've always heard of, but never really took the time to sit down and listen to.
Mhm.
So I've heard of like Viking metal music and stuff like that, but I haven't really like sat down and properly listened to it. So this
Yeah.
would be like the first album of that type of music that I properly invested my time into.
This is likewise for me. This was the first album I have ever heard of it, and I loved it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, like a lot actually.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So much so that it is now on my phone. I brought the album.
Oh, sweet.
Like-
Oh, cool.
Mainly because it gave me so much energy when I woke up first thing in the morning for my bakery shift.
Oh,
I sat
yes.
there walking to work going, yes!
Oh, so you
I
so
got
yeah. So
this.
that was this is the
Yes.
thing. So I kind of said like it was a good idea to like experience it in different ways, like not necessarily listen to it.
I
Like,
did.
Go out and do it, and you did.
I will
Awesome.
tell you the ways
Ooh.
in which I listen to it.
Oh, this is exciting.
I listen to it to my walk to work because it takes me about 45 minutes to walk to work on the
Yeah.
whole, and that's if I'm just taking it at a nice slow pace. But I did find that it woke me up a little bit more than
Yeah.
I usually am awake by the time I get to work. I sort of got to work with a bit of a skip in my step, so to speak. It was
Yeah.
nice.
Viking walk around.
I also took your recommendation of going on a bike ride with it.
Mhm.
And I got to town about 7 minutes earlier than I usually do.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I literally, because I was quite interested, I viewed it as a little bit of an experiment. I just cycled into town like I usually would and listened to podcasts.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then a couple of days after, I had to cycle back into town for a reason I can't remember now.
Okay.
And so I was like, I timed that first bike ride
Yeah.
just to see how long it took me roughly with nothing in my ears but a podcast. And then I did exactly the same thing. I stuck a stopwatch on and genuinely about 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes
Nice.
quicker than I usually would.
That's great.
So it clearly, it's the type of music that clearly does put a spring in your step.
It motivates you.
Yeah,
you know,
without a doubt, massively so. It's like properly heavy, but at other times can go like really soft.
Yeah.
And I think that's what works in its favour is that it's got them high points and them low points.
Yeah, definitely.
And
yeah.
when them, it means that when them high points kick in again, you're like,
Yeah,
yes, I'm
The
ready.
symphonic
Let's go.
parts and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. With an actual symphony orchestra as well, which I think adds to it immensely. Like you can feel the power behind it and
Yeah.
stuff.
Without a doubt. I also like the fact that the lead singer in it can both sing incredibly well and then also do scream on top of that.
Yeah.
Like, he's an incredibly talented vocalist, and you're like, oh, that sounds nice. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, jeez, okay. You can scream as well. Cool.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
I also stuck this in my ears while we're going to talk more about this later on. While I was just doing a bit of free roam traversal in Spider-Man,
Oh, okay.
the latest Spider-Man game. So I just swang around New York listening to this music, and,
That's pretty
it
cool.
felt pretty cool. I
Oh,
have to admit.
nice.
I was just like,
Yeah, to be fair, that music in that game does add to it, but I can see
Yeah.
that again with the orchestra underneath it, that would be really cool. You
Like
know, what I
when-
think would really work with this game is like a game like Oblivion or Skyrim
yes,
or
without
like
doubt.
Zelda, something
Wi-
like that.
Zelda,
Would you not think like roaming across in
you know what? It might.
in Breath of the Wild?
It would work. I was just about to say that it would work really well in Breath of the Wild because
just running
There's-
across and
there's not-
climbing across things.
Yeah,
and
there's
things like
not a lot of music in Breath of the Wild itself. Like, the music that it has is gorgeous and beautiful and some of my favourite soundtrack stuff to a video game. But
Yeah.
there's not a lot of it because I think Nintendo wanted to sort of
Step back
bring
a bit.
forth like an emptiness, and at times like you are just alone in a situation, which
Yeah,
for
yeah.
story beat purposes work quite well. But
Yeah.
I should have tried playing Breath of the Wild.
I
while
honestly,
listening to
I thought
this.
that you were going to do
In
that.
fact,
to be
I
honest.
can. I've got it now, so I
Well,
might.
that's it.
I might
try
do
it.
that. I'm gonna give that a bash.
Yeah.
That sounds like really good fun. Actually, I could also play Skyrim VR while listening to it.
Oh, mate, that'd be awesome.
All of these ideas I'm now
Shit,
coming
to
up
go out
with that
with.
could work really, really well with the kind of music that it is.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. But yeah, so far I've just swung around New York, which now, in comparison to all of these other ideas we've come up with, seems really lame.
But hey, but like it adds to it, right? Like it does add to.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why I said go on a bike ride is because when I first started listening to this album, I was doing, God, this makes me like still really old. I was doing work experience in year 10, and I had to bike to Shelford actually. Funny enough. I had to bike from Shelford from Dutsford where I used to live, and I had the album. I just got his album, and again, making me feel old, it wasn't on an iPod, it was on a CD player. So I had to sort of have it in like my bag.
Hey, I've still got my portable CD player at home, and I still use it all the time.
It's great, you know.
Yeah, it does the job fine. It eats through batteries a little bit, but
Yeah.
apart from
But the
that,
thing is as well, like you had to be careful if you went off a bump because then it would go.
yeah, that's why I didn't tempt fate with this CD, because it's already a bit worse for wear to begin with. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick this on my phone, I think.
Yeah, but
But,
I did a bike ride, and I used to go to work with this playing, and like there was one track in particular that I remember being such a good track to because it was raining, and it's a track called the Dunier Rapids, and it was like and it's definitely about
like track 7.
yeah, it's about like they're clearly like in like some rapids and things like that, and you can feel it, and like when you're biking and you're going like through the rain, it's going back and to and fro.
I know them cycles in the rain all too well.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like, especially because you're like, this is clearly you can feel the rain and stuff. You can feel the waves and stuff.
My favourite song was trying to remember which one. It was Cursed Be Iron, mainly because it started with someone doing blacksmithing, and I can't think of a more metal way to start a song.
I know, right?
Than just, we're going to keep to the beat of this song through someone using an anvil and blacksmithing. Deal with it.
It's awesome. That's a good song. That's quite a heavy one as well, actually, I think.
It was, yeah.
I think my personal favourite is probably in between the first song and the last song. In the journey, not Rasputin. The To Home Guard and Beyond.
Although their version of Rasputin was pretty.
It's good. It's 10 times better than Pony M. Sorry.
Shots fired.
Yep. Fight me. The first one, To Home Guard and Beyond, just for that first boom. That's great. And then the last one, the Milcard Overture. Which is the choir when it comes in. Constantinopoli. It just lifts your spirits so much.
It does, but it kind of leads on to one of my points. I think, and I couldn't really tell you why, but I think I enjoyed the first half of the album more than I did the second.
Okay. I can get that though. I can.
And not. It's not split 50-50 either. I think the first 6 songs I'm like all in. And it's not that I don't like the last 2 songs at all. I don't know what it is, but I felt slightly less like.
I think if I can see, honestly, I can see what you're coming from, because I remember when I first got the album, I was mainly kind of listening to those first couple of songs.
Honestly,
they're more songs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're more songy.
It also
they're
might
separate.
be that by the time I got to work or got to town, I was by the end of song 6. So it might be that I just didn't listen to song 7 and 8 enough. And I certainly did listen to them, but I don't think I listened to them to the extent that I did the first 6.
I don't think they work on their own as standalone songs.
No.
I think whereas like To Home Garden Beyond, like Fields of Gold, I think, and like those sort of first 5 songs, they can work as their own songs
as a unit in itself.
Yeah, you could play one of those songs without necessarily any context, and it still works. Whereas I think with the Milkard Overture, it does honestly, need that explanation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
this is the end of a journey. This is him looking at the gates and going the city and saying, "Oh my God, look how amazing this city is." And
I say it might be that I just haven't listened to it enough yet, because I often find that with songs in albums, there'll be one song that doesn't really I don't really get to grips with like the first month or so, and then it's really weird. Like one day it will just click for me, and I'll be like, "Oh, right, yeah, awesome, amazing." And it might be like I'm gonna continue listening to this album. I genuinely really enjoyed it. And it might be that one day it will just click for me, and I'll love them last 2 songs just as much as I do the first 6. But it's not that I didn't enjoy them whatsoever. It just they didn't cling to me as much as the rest.
Yeah, that's fair enough, and I can get that. I definitely would recommend listening to their other stuff as well. Battle Metal, which is their first album, it doesn't have the...
I've heard that it's not as good as their other stuff.
No, and mainly I think is because that it doesn't have real orchestra. It's like it's quite clearly made on like a keyboard.
Yeah.
Whereas the ones after it, they are really good. Turisas 2013 is really weird and is a big step away from the Viking stuff.
Okay.
But it's great because in all their albums after the Varingan Way, they actually refer to like the previous album in at least one song. So like in that one after the Varingan Way, they sing like I think a line from To Home Garden Beyond.
Yeah.
And I was like, you get a kick out of that if you like the album and stuff. So
yeah.
I'd say listen to a couple more if you like that, because
I think I might definitely.
I think it's the March, the one after that, the March of the something. I can't remember now. Gone off my head. But yeah, definitely worth a listen to.
The only other thing that I've got to add is that I really wanted to use this soundtrack for one other thing, and I never got the chance to, which I'm not too happy with. Like, because of situations at the time. Obviously, the first night of EGX, a group of us got together to play D&D.
Oh yes, you mentioned this. Yeah,
yes. But it was in sort of like a restaurant pizza type situation.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't realistically get away with being like, can I just blast this down the speakers and it'll be grand, because I think most of the other people in the room probably would have hated me for it.
Yeah, wouldn't have thanked you for that one.
But that leads me on to like, we absolutely do need to do another D&D campaign at some point.
Yeah, you know what, we should
and
do
when
that.
we do, can we have this on in the background?
100%. In fact, I'm gonna make it so that it is integral to the D&D campaign.
Brilliant. Overall, really enjoyed the album, so much so that I brought it, and I will keep listening to it because it's just great. Especially on days where I'm a bit sluggish from work and stuff like that, it does just
lift my
spirits a little bit. So,
well, hey, if they ever are playing live again, then we should go and see them.
Yeah, definitely.
I've seen them live actually. They're pretty good live actually.
Brilliant.
Their violinist is top notch. He is amazing, especially when he does the guitar solos, because all their guitar solos are on violin.
Brilliant.
Any guitar solos here on that album is a violin, not a guitar, which I think is pretty cool.
I didn't actually know that. That's really cool.
I know, right? Yeah. That's what it says. I'm not entirely sure how much truth there is in that, but like,
I mean, if it's on the internet, then it's obviously true.
Clearly true, but a majority of it is violin, because his violin.
I mean, it's impressive, none the same. Like,
cool.
Brilliant.
So, let us move on to the entertainment exchange. You might wonder.
I don't
why
like
I'm
your
laughing.
tone.
Yeah, you might wonder why I'm laughing, Saul. Well, Halloween is upon us.
Shit.
It is nearly Hallows Eve, and normally in Hallows Eve it is customary to do a bit of trick or treating. So, Saul, we're going to play a little game for my entertainment exchange to you. Because you've
good.
given me two games and films that I have not necessarily enjoyed.
I was about to say, is this revenge for Resident Evil 7?
Well, yeah, and Hardcore Henry
and
as well.
I mean, that one's justified, to be fair.
Yeah. So I was just outright going to give you something that I didn't think you'd 100% enjoy.
Okay.
But I was like, I'm not that mean. So I'm going to give you a chance to not get that.
Why do I see a dice in your hand?
Well, okay, so I've got a 6-sided dice here. It's actually a really cool dice. It's actually black with like the numbers are all like, red, which makes it all evil and black and
I'll confirm the
devilly.
coolness of the dice when it's in my hands.
And so basically, I'll give you the dice. And the idea is,
Confirm it's a really cool dice.
If you get a 4 or higher, you will get The Trick, a not so nice film.
Wow,
if you get a 3 or less, you'll get a treat. You'll get a nice film.
Right.
A nice film, a lovely one.
Right.
I mean, hey, to be fair, you might fucking love The Trick. You might hate The Treat. But I've kind of,
So
I've
regardless,
gone on a nice,
it's 50-50.
something nice and something, yeah. So something nice and something not so nice. So
Okay.
Saul, roll the dice.
I will.
3.
No. Yeah. Yeah,
3.
it's a 3.
God fucking damn it. I wanted you to have a bad film.
Well, I mean...
Well,
you could secretly just swap it out. Who am I to know? I don't know either.
I'm going to leave it to you. Do you just want to take the punishment and just go for the trick, or do you want to go for the treat?
I mean, I kind of felt like I've dealt you a bad hand the last couple of times.
Okay.
Especially with Hardcore Henry. I knew you weren't probably going to like it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll take the trick.
Okay. You fool!
Ah, shit.
I am giving you a fantastic British horror film called Evil Aliens.
I already don't like the look of this. I've just seen the cover.
It's a B movie, right? Well, I love it. I genuinely love it. If you ask Max about it, he'll say how brilliant it is.
Who's Max?
You know who Max is.
Yeah, I meant for the audience.
Oh, I see. Max is like a good friend of ours. Sorry. If you're sorry, fuck me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know Max, right? Yeah, a good friend of ours. We all watched this together once, just out of the blue, and we all just fell in love with it. I don't think you'll like it. To be honest.
I mean, it's a horror film, and I've already said that I don't cope well with horror films. So, is it cheesy as fuck or?
Well,
not so.
Well, just enjoy it, Saul. Just
Okay.
take it away with you and just have fun.
Cool. I mean, yeah. It certainly looks like there's some evil aliens in it. I'll tell you that for nothing.
The budget is. If you thought that Horrid Henry was Hardcore Henry was.
I mean, it was pretty horrid.
Yeah, it was bad. Then mama. But yeah,
Thanks,
love it,
mate.
But,
Thanks, mate. Just know that I could have gone for the treat at any time.
But you didn't.
Cool.
I'll tell you what the treat was off air.
Oh man.
Go on, carry on.
So, I mean, you pretty much already know what I've got you at this stage. We did talk about it.
Off air, yeah.
So I've got you a stand-up comedian,
Hey!
which I think is another first in our
It's a
podcast.
first. It is a first. Yes.
One of my favourite stand-up comedians. This is Eddie Izzard.
Yes, which I have to say I have seen Eddie Izzard, like some of his comedy stand up before, but not necessarily sat down and really gone, I'm gonna watch this.
This is his latest show. I believe he is due to do another show next year.
Oh, cool.
If my sources are correct. I do rely on the internet, so.
Yeah, well.
This is Force Majeure.
Cool.
This is my limited copy of it, but
Ooh.
I was lucky enough for my 20th birthday. My stepmom took me to go and see this live.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And so I've got a little addition to this as well, actually, as well as my limited edition run of it.
Ooh.
I also have the flyer or the the booklet that I picked up at
sweet,
the tour
The
itself.
program. That's awesome.
The program. So you can have the program as well.
That's really nice, actually. That'll add something a bit extra to it.
Yeah,
really.
definitely.
I do like it. He is odd.
He's one of my
nice
favourite
guy.
comedians, and I've got my stepmom to thank for that one entirely. She's the one that got me into him. So much so that she brought me to a live show of his for my 20th.
Awesome. Oh, well, so this is going to make up for all the shit.
Yeah, I reckon so.
If it isn't, then I'll come back. Saul, I didn't like it. I mean, can you imagine?
I swear to God.
Can you imagine?
I
3
swear.
for 3, Saul.
We joke about this 10-metre long cable. If that happens, I'm fucking off, mate.
No, I like it. I mean, obviously, cake or death.
Cake or death.
Yeah. Anyway, let's continue on. Hang on, I'm gonna intro the next bit.
Oh, okay. Oh, hello.
Oh yeah. Without context, well.
Oh, I say.
Okay, are we ready? A Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies again. Here comes a Spider-Man.
I mean, it's a lot better than the intro I had planned, which was just the conventional Spider Pig. Spider Pig.
Yeah, well, so there we go. We're going to
guess what we're talking about. Go on.
Batman.
I knew it.
So we're going to talk about me. We're going to talk about Spider-Man. So, me and Saul have Saul has only just finished.
I literally just finished a new Spider-Man game yesterday.
Which is a first, because I actually finished it before Saul.
And you got the game after I did as well.
I did, indeed.
Yeah, I had a busy month, and then I was told to go play another game, and so I did that for a little bit. And then Adam messaged me about 5 days ago going, we've got this podcast coming up, and I went, oh yeah, we're talking about Spider-Man, aren't we? I should probably finish the game.
So, I mean, straight out the bat, I mean, it's already been said all over the place. We're not going to go on too much about how amazing it is, but Spider-Man for the PS4, fantastic game.
Bloody fantastic. You want to know how fantastic? When I was at EGX, there was genuinely Spider-Man playable games over there.
Yeah.
And the line for it for the entire 4 days was non-stop.
Yeah, it would be.
Non-stop.
Because it's brilliant. It's an absolutely great game.
Despite the fact that the game was already out at that point as well.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's insane.
The game had already been out for... Well, it came out beginning of September, like the 9th, I think.
Yeah. Because I got it for my birthday.
So it had already been out for about a week and a half, 2 weeks at this stage, and there was still a monumental line for it throughout most of the convention.
Because it's great.
Yeah.
And even the thing is, even the things they do wrong, it just the good stuff outweighs that. Like any reviewer that says stuff about it that are trying, even I mean, Zero Punctuation, he reviewed it, and he's normally pretty negative about everything. You could tell that he was really struggling to find things wrong with it. It's so good. It's such a great game. You know,
when you can make the traversal of a city, going around the city, so exciting that you at no point ever want to fast travel, you are doing something right. Yeah.
So we'll let's just talk. I mean, let's talk a little bit. We're going to talk about the plot, and a little bit. So we'll say spoilers for Spider-Man plot.
Yeah.
The game plot.
What I will say off the bat that this is the most fun I have had with a superhero video game since the original Arkham Asylum.
Which I
Batman.
haven't played.
That was the last superhero game that made me turn around and take notice. And frankly, Spider-Man stomps Arkham Asylum into the ground a little bit with how bloody amazing it is.
Even looking at it, Batman is so clunky compared to Spider-Man especially in terms of the combat and things like that. I'm watching it, I'm going, I would enjoy this.
The combat in Spider-Man is so good.
I mean, straight off the bat, I played it in super easy because, at the end of the day, I've got a lot of shit on, and I really wanted to finish the story. I was really invested in the story, and I wanted to do it. I wanted to feel cool. Okay, so I just played it. Did
you feel cool?
I did feel freaking cool.
Then that's all that matters.
I was Spider-Man. okay, and if it was in hard, it would have been. It just doesn't have that same effect.
I didn't play it in hard. I played it in normal,
Yeah.
and that gave me enough of a challenge. But at no point did I ever feel overwhelmed.
No. Which is good. I think that's great. And I like, I mean, with easy as well. I mean, I think there was only a couple of things where I really struggled. And honestly, I think the things I struggled with the most was the stealth ones.
Missions? Yeah, I was going to say.
Like,
that
no,
was...
wait, stop!
That happened more than a couple of times, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Whoops.
And that was the only bad thing with those games, the game, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Even that wasn't dreadful.
No,
though.
it was bearable because of everything else.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, it's okay because
it
soon
was
I'm going to be
bearable
Spider-Man again.
because it escalated a really good story.
Definitely.
And you were invested in it enough for the story alone that the stealth parts were bearable. And they were more than bearable. They were some of the best stealth stuff that I've ever played.
Yeah.
But it is a different dynamic to the rest of the game, so if there was any criticism to be had about the game, I think it would be them stealth sections.
Yeah,
but even those are not that bad.
It lowers the pace a little bit, and if you're, if you're really getting the groove of things, and then it's like it stops it dead in the water, and you're playing as Miles or MJ, it's like, I want to go back to swinging again. It does get a little bit annoying, especially if you do get on a bit that you're stuck with, and then like I just want to skip this. Which coincidentally goes on to another negative point I had about it, was like the extra like mini games, like with when you're doing like the Dr. Ock, Octavius,
the lab stuff. Yeah.
Which I was like, oh my god, like initially
it's
alright.
It was your conventional hacking game.
Yeah, but if you screwed it up a couple of times, you can skip it.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I skipped. I realised that maybe like the second time.
I don't think I ever got that option.
It might be because I was on easy, to be fair. But like, hell, I liked that. That was a good thing in easy. Like, because I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, it is great, and honestly, if I wasn't playing a Spider-Man game, I probably would have like enjoyed it because it was a good mini game. But I was like, you know what? A couple of times I was like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try it. But then this web swinging call to me. I was like, no, I'm going to skip this. I'm going to carry on.
I think the one thing that will say the worth of this game alone is even the QuickTime events in this are good, fine, bearable.
Definitely.
Escalate the story. They're not used a stupid amount. They're used when they're needed, and when they are used, they're incredibly easy. They give you so much time you don't even have to think about it.
No. And I like the ones where you use like the triggers to like use your different hands to go to the walls and things like that. Like that was really cool because that actually was. It wasn't just pressing a button. It was actually using the webs and stuff. And yeah, I didn't dislike the QuickTime events in this, and like they were used sparingly. They were used when they were needed. And
most importantly, they were easy to do.
Yeah.
They didn't stop the flow of the game at all.
Exactly. Yeah. There were a couple of times where I screwed it up and I was like, crap. But then the thing is, you can go straight back to the checkpoint.
Yeah.
And you knew where it was coming. You knew what you had to press. It didn't change.
Gave you lots of time to do so.
It gave you plenty of time. Then you were like, right, fine, cool, I've done that. That's fine. It definitely didn't. It wasn't something that you got stuck on.
Exactly. And the fact that the QuickTime events are not in most people's criticism is a feat of its own. Because that's what most people will criticise a game over these days, is the use of QuickTime, because it's so frequently used these days. So
I think the creators actually came up when they initially said that it was QuickTime. They were like, it's QuickTime events, but wait! Putting their hands up, but wait! It's alright.
As guns were drawn. Wait! It's okay.
Only a little. It's fine. Okay, everybody calm down. Sir, put that gun away. Yeah. And what I also like is the fights are all quite varied. You have lots of different bosses. You have which sometimes I'm like, again, in easy, well, it is obviously easier, but you do still have to think about things. But not to the extent
I found that with the combat. I played it non-stop the very first weekend I picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all I played. I did all of the side mission stuff before I'd even hit the story. and then I took a big gap in between because I had stuff to do and I ended up playing other games.
Yeah.
And I found that when I got back again, the combat system is fantastic, but oh boy, did it kick my ass when I got back into it again.
Yeah,
And it took me
yeah.
like an hour or so to get into the flow of things again.
Definitely.
It's an incredibly well-crafted fighting system
It's
that
it
if you
flows
can,
so
if you
well.
can pull off without a hitch, makes you feel like such a badass.
Yeah. But I think even if you do like have a misstep, it does kind of
It is forgiving.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, again, like I haven't played it in hard. I might play it in hard. I might just chuck in a couple of missions just in hard just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
But like,
I'd recommend normal at least.
yeah.
Without doubt.
So obviously this is coming from a different point of view than people that have gone all hardcore on it. But you know, yeah, I think it was great. So the combat is great, and like the boss battles, like they're all really different, which I really like. I think that you have to think a bit more about it. Do you know what I mean? Like especially when you're sort of fighting with Rhino and Scorpion. And with
I like the fact that the boss battles at the end they threw in like 2 bosses at once.
Yeah.
Because it you had to think of stuff up on the spot quickly.
And then
but
you-
it
and
never
you get in the
felt
rhythm
too
of it, and-
challenging.
Yeah.
So it meant that once you did do it, it wasn't challenging enough that you broke your controller over it, but you felt like, oh yeah, man, I just took down like 2 bosses at once, and it
Exactly.
felt awesome.
Also, it sped up the game big time because I was like, mate, there's 6 bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have to take out all 6 of these guys. It's going to take a while, but actually it kind of splits up a little bit, which is good.
Yeah.
You know? And it doesn't slow it down, which is nice. Because that's the one thing that this game is not, and it's slow. Like,
No, not at all.
which I loved. I just loved that. I was just, oh, yes. So story-wise, I thought it was really good.
I thought it was an
it
incredibly
was-
well-crafted story.
It was engaging. The parts with Peter were really good. Again, that slowed it down a little bit, but it added to it. You know, it made you care about this Spider-Man a lot more.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Peter stuff just as much as I enjoyed the Spider-Man stuff, I
Yeah.
would say.
And it's
Because it
good.
was engaging, and you actually cared about Peter Parker, which you
yeah.
don't a lot in, well, much of the games or the films. at
No,
this
no,
stage.
definitely not. No, because you're a
It's
Spider-Man.
It's all about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing to get a decent Peter Parker story alongside a really good Spider-Man story as well.
Exactly, yeah. Because Spider-Man is quite. He's quite a he's got a good heart. He's not doing it for selfish reasons. He's doing it because he cares.
Yeah.
And like the fact that his aunt is working in this feast thing, and like he
Homeless
obviously,
shelter, yeah.
Yeah, homeless shelter. He's obviously got that in his blood. He's got that caring side in his blood, and he's not like doing it for selfish reasons like Iron Man or whatever. Like or Batman.
His heart is in a good place,
Yeah.
and it's very clear to see in this game, which is really refreshing.
Yeah. And you know what? Actually, I don't think we need to go into spoilers too much on air. Because,
No. The game's still fairly new, and we don't really want to dive into spoilers too much because
we don't need to. Because I think the game speaks for itself.
The game speaks for itself. The gameplay alone speaks for itself. Like if you are at all slightly interested by the gameplay alone, buy this game. It's
Definitely.
fantastic.
I think we should touch upon something. So obviously this game is going to get one comparison to it, and that is Spider-Man for the PS2, Spider-Man 2 for the PS2, which, you know, still to this day is you know, I cite it as one of my favorite games. It was fantastic. The traversal of New York was brilliant. The random encounters with crime was great. But you said you recently
I would
played
not
it.
recommend playing it now,
No.
at least not for a while. Let the new game wash over you a bit first, because I set up my PS2. I already had my PS2 set up, so just as a laugh, I thought, I'll stick Spider-Man 2 in, see where I am in the save, because I don't think I finished the game. Have a little bit of a swing around, see if I enjoy it as much as I did last time, and I think I would have if I hadn't have played the new one
Yeah, so
about a
recently.
day beforehand.
Yeah.
Because the new Spider-Man game just trounces all over Spider-Man 2.
But that's that's naturally gonna happen, isn't it? Like, you know, the engine is a lot better, the graphics are better.
I mean, you say that, but there have been many other Spider-Man games in between Spider-Man 2 and the new Spider-Man.
Yeah, and they have
none
never
of
got it
them were
right.
ever good enough.
No. Because that game was great.
Yeah,
They got
it was
that right.
fantastic. But I would say that if you're going to play the new Spider-Man, leave the Spider-Man 2 alone for a little bit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it might get ruined a little bit for you.
Yeah, no.
Because it doesn't hold up. It holds up as a game itself. It's still fantastic to play. But it does not hold up next to the new one whatsoever.
No. But whenever I was playing it, I was definitely comparing it to it. I was like, this is so much like Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is so, and they've definitely created homage to it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
with the
without
Black
a doubt.
Cat stuff, and you know, the actual web swing in itself as well. I definitely felt like I had I was trying to do stuff that I used to be able to do in the old Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
In this one, and I was like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, okay, that's a bit annoying. But after a while, I was like, actually, you know what? This is fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Speaking of homage.
Yeah.
It leads me quite nicely onto the films of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because there is a brilliant bit in the new game.
Yeah.
And it's your fight with Mr. Negative in the train station.
Yeah.
Train
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
And obviously the train is not slowing down, and there's a point where he fires loads of webs to try and slow it down.
Yeah.
They all snap, and his response to this is, "Oh, that worked beforehand.
Yeah,
that worked last time," which is a brilliant little sting to Spider-Man 2, the film.
Yeah.
And I loved that bit. I had a right good chuckle at that.
There's a couple of
bit.
those moments, I think. There's a couple of those moments where it does that.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's nice that they're almost paying homage to the films as well as the games. It's really nice to see, which leads me on to the Spider-Man films.
Yeah. So let's go to the first ones.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire was obviously the first Spider. That's probably, I don't know about you, is probably my first real contact with Spider-Man. Apart from maybe, I watched some of the cartoon that used to be on like early mornings, Saturday mornings.
I didn't grow up with the cartoons. I didn't grow up with comics. My first encounter with Spider-Man was the Tobey Maguire films.
Okay. Yeah, so I had a little bit of like the 90s like cartoons that were on Saturday mornings. I didn't watch it religiously, but like I knew of Spider-Man because of those. But yeah, Tobey Maguire was kind of like my first dive into it, and I loved it. It was great. It was a great film. It had humor.
Is this the first film? Yeah,
the first one. Yeah, with Green Goblin.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. Probably enjoyed it even more because of the age I was at the time. It was fantastic. I haven't watched it in quite a long time,
No, neither
and
have
I don't really want to because I fear it might spoil it a bit for me.
It doesn't hold up, I don't think.
No. The film I think does hold up still to this day is Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
I still
totally agree.
really like that film.
I think I watched that one the most out of all of them.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, Dr. Octopus in that was brilliant.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, actually, no, I'm not going to go into that. He is great in it. And yeah, the bad guy works. And yeah, Peter's he's not gotten to that cocky stage, and he's not in that naive stage either in that one. So yeah, it works. And then Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3, I think I'm going to get shot for this, I'm sure.
Oh,
but
I might join you, Saul.
I think people give it more shit than it deserves.
I agree. I liked... You know what? When Spider-Man 3 first came out, I absolutely loved it.
I'm
I
not
bought
saying
it
I
straight
liked
away.
it, but it definitely gets more shit than it deserves. What it came down to was the director and the writer had written up a really good story for Sandman, and Sandman alone.
Yeah,
and the studio turned around and went, no, we need Venom, because Venom is the main thing. And then
Venom's my least favourite part of that film.
Exactly. All it came down to with that film, I think, is overbooking bad guys.
Definitely.
There was too much going on in that film.
Wasn't there?
There was Hobgoblin,
Yeah.
there was Venom, and there was Sandman. And the stuff with Sandman was really good, and you could tell it was really well written. And
there was heart behind it.
Yeah, there was heart behind it.
That bad guy cared about what he was doing.
Exactly. Whereas Venom looks like, well, I say looks like, it was just tacked on at the end as a money grab.
Yeah.
Look, Venom is in our film, come and watch our film.
Yeah, it's like, well, he's in the last, 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and it's not even that good a fight.
That is the reason that film gets so much shit. And obviously, Tobey Maguire emo dancing in it.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I will say for the emo dancing, right? So the dancing I fucking hated, but when he did the emo fringe, I was going through the emo phase at that point, so I freaking loved that. And the thing is, I connected, and that's what they wanted, because loads of kids that were going to that film were emos at that point. Okay, so I just would like to add that out. Like, if you're moaning about it now, you're probably a fucking emo that was liking it, and I'm just gonna, and I liked it, and I probably would if someone said to me, right, you've got to watch Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 3, I would probably put on Spider-Man 3 just because I prefer the bad guy and I prefer Sandman.
And Sandman is the bad guy in that film.
Venom is
just tacked on. Speaking of Venom. While we're on the topic of Venom, we did have another question come in.
Lovely.
From Ben Carter. And this question was, given the mixed reactions to Venom, the new film that's just come out, what are your thoughts? Corporate shill product of the year or semi-decent movie?
Okay, so have you seen it?
I have seen it.
All right, I haven't seen it yet. And you know what? I love Tom Hardy. I think he's an absolutely phenomenal actor. Legend is a brilliant film. Bronson is a fantastic film. He's great in that. The Revenant, I could go on. He's a great actor. But when they said he was Venom, I was like, yeah, no.
He's decent in it.
I don't know.
He's really good in it. You know what's not decent? Is the fact that they made a PG-13 Venom movie.
It's PG-13.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's gonna fall at the start first hurdle.
And that is what leads me to think that it was more
money grab.
Definitely. Because you're gonna target that stuff towards teenagers instead.
Yeah.
And so I don't think you're gonna produce the Venom movie that everyone is wanting purely because you are trying to make money effectively at that stage by making it a PG-13 and not an R. Yeah.
I felt like that it was kind of. They didn't. I haven't really seen that much about it. Like it felt for me very understated, especially in terms of, because a lot of people have been waiting for a good Venom film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially because a lot of people I know they want to see all the other ones. They want to see Carnage and things like that.
I was about to say, for what it was worth, the film was actually, as Ben said, it was half decent. It wasn't great, but it wasn't god awful. Like, it didn't make me want to storm out of the cinema and cause a riot.
Yeah. But it could have been better.
I think it was just a money grab at this stage.
But what I don't understand is, right, you've got a film like Deadpool, okay?
Yeah.
Deadpool, it's like, rated R in the US, and it's like, it was 15 in this country, which I was like, wow, okay, how did that happen? But I was like, obviously, those films are harder to sell because you've got your audience is getting lower and less and less the higher you go up. It's harder to get screens and things like that. So obviously, they don't want to do screenings like that. But Deadpool was a massive success. So why haven't they done the same thing with Venom? Why haven't they gone, you know what? Let's make this a bit more R-rated.
And I think that answers Ben's question, is that because they're looking at a money grab for it.
And that for me is why I didn't really want to see it, to be honest.
I think the finality to that question is if they bring out a Carnage movie, and if they do, is that also going to be a PG-13? Because if it is, that's answered your question.
Yeah.
Right there.
I don't think they're going to bother. I don't think
also,
that Venom's going to do enough, going to do well enough.
Also, they made a Venom movie that didn't have Spider-Man in it at all.
Again, stupid. Why did that happen?
Right?
Pointless. The thing is, any Marvel properties now are always going to be compared to the MCU.
Yeah.
And and I'm sorry, X-Men are my favorite Marvel property.
Yeah.
But they're not in the MCU, and any film that comes out compared to that is honestly it's not as good.
Speaking of people in the MCU, thoughts on latest Spider-Man that has come out?
I think it's really good.
I love it.
Honestly, I think that the Spider-Men in themselves have gotten better as they've gone along.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire was good.
I don't know.
Did you not
wasn't a fan of the Amazing Spider-Man stuff.
I watched the first film and I was like, this guy is a good Spider-Man. I think he was a better Spider-Man than Tobey Maguire.
I thought he was a good Spider-Man. I thought he was a shit Peter Parker.
Do you think?
Yeah, because he was all cool and edgy, and that's not what Peter Parker is.
See, the thing is with Spider-Man, you've got to have the jokes.
You've got to have the quips as well, which the new game has in spadefuls, and it's wonderful.
Because Spider-Man and Deadpool usually team up in the comics, because they both are very much fourth wall breaking, and they make these quips and jokes and things like that. And I think that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man really got the quips right.
Yeah.
Where Tobey Maguire's was it was nearly there. He had it, but it was still quite dorky. Whereas, I get what you're saying, because as Peter Parker, he was too cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not what Peter Parker is.
No. But the new Peter Parker.
Yes. Fantastic. He is both an amazing Peter Parker and a really good Spider-Man.
He's dorky, but he's dorky as Spider-Man and as Peter Parker, but he's cool as Peter Parker and as Spider-Man. There's a good mix.
I only have one criticism about the new Spider-Man, and it's not about the character at all.
Okay.
Aunt May.
Yes, I agree. Why is she so young?
Right?
Didn't need to be that young.
I get the feeling that she was cast just so that Tony Stark could hit on her.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, definitely. I think they could have made her literally 5 or 6 years older, and it would have been a little bit. Because
don't get me wrong.
He's the youngest Spider-Man that we've had.
Don't get me wrong. She plays the part really well. She's really good at acting it and all of that. It's just too young.
Yeah, if you look back at all the other Aunt Mays, in the Tobey Maguire Aunt May, I loved her. That you felt when she got kidnapped, you were like, oh my god, leave that old woman alone, you piece of shit. In the new Spider-Man, in the game, you love that Aunt May.
She's great. Her character arc is fantastic.
It's great, and you care for that character in the news. I mean, maybe it's because they don't focus too much on Aunt May in this one, but I'm just she feels more like his cousin or his sister or an older sister. If it was older sister May, then fine, then it would work. But it's not.
But it doesn't work as an Aunt May.
That you hit the nail on the head there, actually, because I always thought that, and no one's really said anything about that to me, really. But yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Apart from that, carry on doing what you're doing, because the new Spider-Man is fantastic, and brilliant. I cannot wait for the next one. No,
they can't. I don't think. I think at this point, Marvel can't really do too wrong. I'm being perfectly honest. They probably could. They could prove me wrong now, but
at this stage, I think we're in good hands.
Yeah, I was, and that's the thing. I was kind of worried about the game, because I was like, this isn't part of the MCU. Is it gonna be? Is it gonna be so much comparison to it? But actually, no. They make homage to it. Yeah,
it blends in really well. You've got the Iron Spider suit in the new game, which is fantastic. You've got the Avengers Tower. You've got the Homecoming outfit as well.
But you also don't. But you don't need. It doesn't You don't need to have watched the MCU to get it either.
Not at all.
It's a standalone thing, and it works.
It's a standalone thing. It works incredibly well. It just pays homage to the people who have seen the films. Basically, to the people who have seen the films, they'll look at parts of the game and go, I see.
Yeah,
I get
like
that.
There's also a Ghostbusters reference in there somewhere. You can go
Is
to the
there?
Ghostbusters. You can go to Ghostbusters headquarters, and there's a little ghost sprayed painted on it.
Mate, I'm going to have to go and
Yeah,
find that
I know,
now.
right? Yeah, I need to find it too.
I want to finish this with just one question.
Go for it.
Are you planning on platinuming Spider-Man?
I really want to give it a good damn try. It's probably one of the first games ever, actually,
Yep.
even compared to like any of my other favorite games, that I've actually wanted to do pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the missions, like the collecting gas, that was a bit tedious.
I don't mind that so much because it just means I get to swing around New York a bit more, and that's great.
Yeah. But I honestly would quite happily just do that. Just keep
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. We've both finished a story at this stage, but I think we're both in the same boat when we say we're not finished with the game.
No, I
Not
want to
even
do
slightly.
more. I want to do more. And normally when I finish the story, if I finish the story, which is normally the case with me, normally I'm done with the
You're
game.
done,
That's
yeah.
it, and I never play it again. But this I will definitely be playing more.
You're looking forward to the next one because there's clearly going to be a next one.
Oh yes,
Oh,
my
yeah.
friend.
Well, I'm not going to say too much on that matter, but
All I'm
going to
say is
quite
that
clear
there's definitely going to be more, and they knew that there'd be more, and
Yeah.
Christ Almighty, let there be more.
Please do. I will happily pre-order that
Yes.
straight off the bat.
Yeah, honest. You know what? So will I.
Yep.
So will I.
Lovely. Well, I think that concludes our Spider-Man talk.
That concludes our Spider-Man talk and our podcast, our 5th episode, Saul.
Five
Five
podcasts already.
podcasts. I mean, obviously, technically, we don't cast the first one as like 2 separate ones, even though
Yeah.
it was that long that we made it into 2.
We had to split it into 2, but we're getting there now.
Yeah.
We're pretty much on an hour and a half again, so we're getting there.
Well done, us. We're doing
Well
well.
done, us.
Especially considering we thought we were going to have lots of technical glitches. To be fair, I haven't saved it yet, and I haven't, done all the other stuff. But we'll get to that.
If you're hearing this now, nothing went wrong.
Hey!
Yay!
If you are hearing this now, thank you so much for listening to the entire thing. We really appreciate it.
We really do.
Please do give us a rating
That would
on
be fantastic.
iTunes. That would be so amazing. Like, anybody who's listening, I know there are people out there listening. I know there are. Because people ask me, like, well, when's it coming out? I'm like, well, so I know you're listening. So please, please, please leave us a rating on iTunes. That'd be absolutely fantastic.
You can also follow us on Twitter at Let's Talk BS1. Let us know what you think. Interact with us a little bit.
Yeah,
Let's
please
talk
do.
about some Spider-Man. If you loved a Spider-Man game, let's have a chat about it.
Send
I'm
us some
down.
questions if you've got some questions.
Yep.
Please do. If you're friends with us as well, like on Facebook or whatever, or again if you like us on Facebook at Let's Talk BS2, you can find us. You send us a question there. So please do that. That'd be great. We'd love to have some more questions. That'd be fantastic.
All right, shall we call it quits while we're ahead?
Oh, let's do that.
Let's do that. All right.
Thank you very much again for listening. I'm Ads.
I'm Saul.
And join us next time where we'll be talking more
BS.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.